Hello and welcome to the Aegex Webinar. Today we are featuring IBM Watson IoT with our guest speaker, Pete Norton. First, I'd like to explain the control panel that you'll see on the right-hand side of your screen. If you see a section called Questions, you may open that, and there you may type in any question that you have to submit. That can be sent privately or sent to all participants. And we will address your questions at the end of the presentation. Also, during the presentation, you will see a couple of poll questions pop up on your screen. They're just yes or no questions, and you can answer those quickly, and we will be recording your answers. Also, the whole session is being recorded, so you will have access to it at a later time. So without further ado, may I present first the CEO of Ajax Technologies, Thomas Ventulett.
Thanks, Lee. I appreciate everyone joining this time. As some of you may know, a couple months ago we announced our partnership with IBM Global Finance to offer to customers a better way of deploying at volume around the globe, more efficient way of financing products, and give our resellers better tools to meet those needs. As we grow the relationship with IBM, on today's call, Pete Norton began working almost a year ago on where does IoT go in oil and gas and chemical and other related industries. What was the challenge that those companies faced in capturing untold volumes of data that is sitting there that's either manually being captured or not captured at all? How do you deal with all that data, and how do you analyze it? How do you bring it to a good common operating secure platform that met the needs of the industry? And where we have gone since that time is building a tremendous and robust platform of sensors that we'll be announcing to our channel and to our customers in the next month. That's an exciting program. Bringing that all together in Watson is providing us immeasurable capabilities, its ability to bring in weather, sources of other data, analyze that and deliver it up to client visualization platforms and so forth is absolutely where the industry is going. And so with this is those are on the call. This is the very first announcements we're making on this, and so we're glad you're here, and look forward to your feedback. So thanks, Pete, for being a part, and thanks, Lee, for setting us up.
Great, thank you, Tom. And now we'll hear from Pete Norton, who is the Business Development Manager for Watson IoT at IBM.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Pete Norton, as Lee just introduced. So thank you, Lee, for the introduction, and Tom, thank you very much for setting this up for us as well. So this afternoon and this morning, or depending on what time zone you're in, I'll just be talking through about the relationship of Ajax and IBM, how we're trying to help organizations in the oil and gas industry begin to consider the next generation of digital transformation. The objective of this over the next 20-25 minutes is to give you a vision of where we want to go, and then begin to work out how we could actually work together to actually make this a reality for your own organizations, either regardless of where you sit in that supply chain for that digital transformation that can actually bring the next wave of industry innovation. So over the next 20 minutes, I'll be just covering about 10 or 15 different subjects over 5 or 6 slides, and hopefully you'll be able to get a good overview of what IBM's doing, but also what IBM and Ajax are doing to actually advance this. So the objective of this is really to give you an overview of where IBM is operating in the IoT sphere, to ensure that you understand then how IBM and Ajax are working together in a very close collaboration, and then to actually talk through some, most importantly, the use cases that we're beginning to discuss and begin to deploy and implement and build then the solutions around. I won't go through the Aegex overview. This is really for your own reading afterwards. But one of the things that came very apparently clear when IBM started working with Aegex, and specifically after conversations with Tom, was that the whole area of oil and gas needed to be needed a re-visualization of what it could do to actually take advantage of this thing called the Internet of Things, and how Aegex were actually beginning to position and bring to market a series of capabilities that would actually drive that in a unique and different style. And it was all around the intrinsically safe devices that would be able to provide data as close as to the point of origin as possible, in as much real-time capability as possible, to ensure that operations could be more efficient and effective in the future. And working with Aegex, we've actually discovered many, many new use cases and the abilities to actually bring this data forward. And we're continually evaluating and assessing how we can actually build new use cases and bring new forms of transformation to organizations, but also be able to discuss how combining the data with other platforms of data that are actually out there in the market, and I'll talk a little bit about those in a second, can bring true new innovation to this whole marketplace. Now, the background to IBM and Aegex working together comes very simplistically from the fact that IBM understands that an IoT solution for a customer is not made up of a single set of components. It's actually a collaborative end-to-end solution that's going to require data coming from sensors and IoT devices through gateways and into the enterprise cloud and enterprise computing environment that can then help customers take advantage of that data and start the business transformation process. Now, one thing that was very clear when IBM started working in the Internet of Things space was that our strength in delivering enterprise class scalable applications is actually our core strength. With our abilities to actually take data, understand data, transform data, and help organizations use that data for their more effective business operations. One thing, though, that IBM wasn't doing, and one that I think that IBM isn't intending to do, was then to start developing and building what could only be seen as then the actual physical world devices. What we decided to do was to select and work with a series of strategic partners that could bring those capabilities and those solutions to market as specialists and work collaboratively with them. And that's why we started working with Ajax, because their ability to take those sensors, incorporate them into devices, take the data through their gateways and across varying types of networks into the enterprise computing environment is going to be second to none for actually the intrinsically safe market for oil and gas. So our partnership is based upon knowing our individual strengths, our respective strengths, and understanding how we can then build upon them. However, those are in two aspects of an IoT solution. The other aspects are then going to be how you then deliver that. And there's a series of enterprise and computing assets that I'll talk about in a few minutes. But what I will talk about right now is the other capabilities that we're trying to bring to bear in building this and taking this to market. Most importantly is we need to have a series of solution providers who can help customers bind these things together to build that truly business transformational process that will come from gathering this new style of data. That's one element. Another element is then how do we make sure that these things are effectively deployed in the physical world and actually operating to their optimum efficiency as devices, let alone the operation of a plant. And to help with the deployment aspects of the devices and gateways, we're also engaging with IBM Technology Support Services to be able to actually deploy these in a safe and controlled way and provide a full life cycle management of the devices for customers. We're also then working and extending the relationship with IBM Global Financing around the leasing and acquisition of devices to ensure that customers are able to take advantage of the best pricing models and operational models to ensure that they actually can meet their business objectives and ensure that they actually can meet and maintain operation within their effective budgets. So, just moving on a little bit further. The whole idea of the actual Ajax solution set is to gather that data at the point of need and then deliver it effectively to an operational reporting system that might be appropriate to that individual customer. IBM provides a series of assets that actually can provide that. So starting firstly with landing the data in the enterprise environment, and then being able to use tools such as IBM Maximo for asset management, IBM Bluemix for building and deploying additional applications, predictive maintenance and quality, and probably most importantly of all, to help true digital transformation, the new style of IBM Watson and our cognitive computing capabilities. Combine that with existing customer use cases and being able to then take those use cases and take them from just being paper constructs into physical world deployments is the actual strength of the IBM and Ajax relationship. And what we want to do is ensure that our customers are able to understand those use cases, evolve those use cases, bring their own use cases to bear, and then work collaboratively with us both to actually ensure that they actually can begin to see how they can change their business moving forward. Just to put that in a slightly different context, operationally, we want to be able to take data and sensor data and provide that from the Ajax platform into the IBM solution suite. The IBM solution suite is broken down into numerous components, some of which individual customers will have or want, but the important thing is that customers actually build what they need, and you take what you need from the solution set to ensure that you are able to build that most effective digital transformation. Building out the components in taking those, using them most efficiently, taking out the wider IBM solution set, which actually embraces a wider area than what I've already discussed, but a wide area from traditional analytics through to mobile computing, through to be able to surface cities with our intelligent operations capabilities, and then the very rich computing environment that IBM Bluemix provides to help customers access new data styles, new data types, and be able to use that effectively within their operations. Sitting on top of all of that is then the ability to then take the cognitive capabilities of Watson and bring that back into the customer operational model. Clearly, as I said before, IBM Technology Support Services and IBM Global Financing supporting us in driving this forward with each individual customer. Just as a working example, I thought I would just do this and talk you through a scenario that we've actually been working through with Tom. It's actually a scenario that's based on a series of constructs and capabilities that we're then going to start building out from as additional solutions that we as IBM and as Ajax can actually begin to talk to customers around and be able to visualize and actually vision and bring to market. First thing will be is the first part of digital transformation is then taking the continual operational data from the site, bringing the data in rather than actually the manual recording, taking it in as close to real time as possible, bringing the data in and making informed business decisions based upon that data. And those decisions can be in multitude of ways. But one of the things that can actually happen is that over a period of time, we're all aware that actually products, environments degrade. So being able to then automatically be able to record what's happening, look at the degradation that may be going on in particular elements of the operation, and being able to raise proactive work orders to actually begin to do site proactive operational management over a period of time, looking at the very granular data coming in and being able to ensure that maximum site operations and efficiency are maintained. Raising automatic work orders for staff to be able to go and actually engage at the point of contact where they need to be at the right time and proactively. And with the Ajax intrinsically safe tablets, being able to then deliver the information they need to actually perform their roles and tasks when they're actually at the point of need is going to be critical. So being able to take the data, analyze it, raise automatic work orders, and deliver the actual data required for an engineer when he's actually in location will be a vital part of what is required for that true optimization and that digital transformation. But more importantly, the way that we're operating with the tablets, where we're able to then operate with other communication capabilities is that we can then take the Watson cognitive assistants and develop them that are going to be site-specific, operational specific, that can help the engineer interact and provide him with the specific data and tasks and steps needed to actually address whatever engineering concerns are required or whatever the need is at a particular point in time. This is a key aspect, and it became clear quite recently when we started talking about the generational challenges that the engineering of the oil and gas environment is going to be experiencing over the next few years as people begin to retire, as this engineering skill becomes vitally important, but the staff are of a younger age group, they may not have the experience. And working alongside IBM Watson, providing that information to Watson, training Watson to be able to help them, will mean that those sites can maintain that efficiency. They can actually begin to bridge that generational gap and that skills gap and bring individual workers and colleagues up to speed faster with it in operations to ensure that the site maintains its efficiency. And once an operator and an engineer has completed this task, being able to then automatically close off a work order and receive the next piece of work rather than actually having to go back to an engineering control center or reporting center to actually then go off and get the next task. It may sound simple, but will save an awful lot of people an awful lot of time. And the aspect of this is the conditional monitoring that is ongoing all the time, that flows the data from how the site is physically operating all the way through to the site operations and the maintenance engineers that are ensuring that that operation is going, becomes a virtuous circle that allows transformation at a very key point. It ensures the data is accurate, the engineers know what they're doing, when they need to do it, and they can do it in a timely fashion. What I want to talk through now are a few of the use cases that we've started to discuss, where then the actual value is going to be in terms of the capabilities for both Ajax and for IBM, and more importantly, where that value is going to sit for an individual customer. As it stands right now, this is going to be a journey for anyone. We're not suggesting that everyone revolutionizes everything they do tomorrow, because that is not realistic. It's not realistic in terms of timescale, it's not realistic in terms of the education of the individuals and the putting together the necessary tooling that they will need to support every aspect of their role. However, being able to start conditional reporting of sites, of environments right now is possible. Taking the data from the data and devices and bringing that in and surfacing that data into asset management solutions such as Maximo, using cognitive capabilities of Watson, building new applications that can be delivered to the tablets of the engineers in the field is something that can be executed very, very quickly, can help people begin to see the stages, and they can evolve their digital transformation from where they are right now in a paper-based, pencil-based environment to very much a digital, visual capability that will allow them to actually move forward into the 21st century with more effective and efficient staffing. One of the other aspects that we've talked very heavily around with Ajax is the fact that sites are large, they're complex, and depending upon how things operate on a site, the weather can have a significant impact to how that site is operated, the maintenance windows that are going to be actually available to staff, depending upon where they are. And so being able to actually get the microclimate data of what's happening at the site, feeding that microclimate data into the predictive tooling and the weather company data that IBM holds, begins to build a more effective model for day-to-day operation, helping people understand that there are conditions, times of years when things may actually require smaller windows, greater windows, more focused windows of operational support, operational efficiency, ensuring that the staff that are actually operating at the site are actually kept safe and their well-being is maintained so they can operate the site actually in conditions where it's actually most efficient for them, and make sure that they're not actually introducing any additional dangers that are unnecessary. And the weather data, combined with that microclimate data that can be gathered through the Ajax capabilities, means that we have a very comprehensive vision of what is going on to operate the site. And unfortunately, in the wrong circumstances, when there may be an incident, that weather data and that information about whether the wind particularly and where the downstream hazard could be vital for the operation of any first responders and any immediate site incident control. And finally, one of the other use cases, the Ajax ability to actually take the data of individuals working in hazardous locations and bringing that monitored data into a health and safety environment that actually allows organizations to understand how their staff are operating, where they are, and particularly when they're managing in incidents, how they're operating under pressure. Now, clearly, there are lots of other aspects of this around data protection and control, but taking some of that data and being able to provide a more holistic view of that employee or those teams of employees that are operating on site, making sure that people can understand how they're performing, what risks are associated with the operation they're doing, and being able to manage that risk more effectively has got to be a benefit for any organization, particularly when they're actually operating many people in small teams or as lone workers. So, really, to conclude, IBM and Ajax are working together closely to be able to provide a series of building blocks and capabilities that can be employed and deployed by customers through using our wider partner networks to ensure they can begin to address the digital transformation that's going to be needed for the oil and gas industry to moving into the 21st century. So that's the end of my presentation right now. Hope you found it interesting and you've got some questions. And Lee, can I ask if there are any questions that have come in, please?
Yes, thank you very much. We do have a couple of questions. Our first question is, how compatible is this solution with other analytics tools and networks, etc.? Can you choose certain parts of the solution and not others?
So the whole concept of this is that we build a series of or provide a series of building blocks. Compatibility from an IBM perspective is built into our DNA. We very much allow for a lot of APIs and being able to call different components from different taking different operational views. So the ability to interoperate data sets across different platforms, across different providers, across different infrastructures is key to how we operate and what we can provide to customers to ensure that they don't have to lift and shift everything to one platform. It doesn't make sense. So the answer is yes. We allow for great flexibility of interoperation. We keep that as key to what we're doing, knowing that we're dealing with infrastructure that in some cases may be 15, 20, if not 30 or 40 years old. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, thank you. And then also, how quickly can this solution, the Ajax plus Watson solution, be implemented? What are the basic components that are needed to get started right away?
Okay, so if we take a very simple construct of one device through providing one piece of data into the cloud and into the Watson IoT platform for simplistic visualization, the way that we're actually building this out and the work that we're doing with Ajax means that that could actually be achieved probably in the matter of a few hours in terms of actually installation through to getting the data through and proving that for one piece of data. As you scale that up, the way that we actually operate this is that we build a consistent infrastructure. So the time to actual base level getting data from a device through a gateway across a network and into a base visualization can be very, very quick. I've actually deployed and worked with companies that are deploying sensors not of this style but of a similar nature, and we've had data flowing in the matter of a few hours very quickly. So we don't see that being a challenge. The biggest challenge is probably then making sure that you understand what that data is going to be and what to do with that data over a period of time, and that might actually take a little while to actually begin to understand, but that shouldn't take very long. We're trying to help people understand, take that data, enrich it quickly, and being able to turn around applications that provide initial benefit and then deeper benefit over a longer period of time.
Excellent.
Lee,
All right.
Can I add one comment on that real quickly? That's exactly what we're going to be doing in June at the conference. Although we've been working for quite a long time to put all this together, the platform that we'll be teaching everybody about and demonstrating at the conference will actually only be turning on intentionally within the first week prior to the conference. So we can demonstrate that this is massively rapid deployable and easy and simple for devices from any number of manufacturers can easily integrate in, turn on, and start capturing information and providing analytics. So that's what we hope everyone will be learning and seeing live.
Great. And just to clarify, for those of you who may not know what Tom is talking about a conference, he means the Ajax Internet of Things and Thrills conference that is taking place June 7th and 8th here in Georgia. All of our partners are invited, and we will be featuring several technology partners, IBM Watson being a particularly important one, who will be speaking during the conference and have a large role in the technology there. So thank you both for joining us, and thank you all for attending. We will be sending out the recording of this webinar and as well as a survey following this webinar. So thank you for coming, and we will be in touch. Take care.